Yo, what up? Welcome to Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. It's your boy. It's Tuesday, terrific Tuesday, February 25th. I was going to say February 26th. That's a special day. Tomorrow, somebody in the studio will be turning 53 tomorrow. And yeah, I know it's hard for you to think that's me because black don't crack and a brother doesn't look like he's 53, but that's the deal. And let me tell you what's happening over here today. We got a crazy show. Our producer, the full-time producer, Matthew Frizzell, you know him as Frizz, he is out sick today. So we had to go to the C team, not even the B team, like the C team. Oh my goodness, Will Worship. I guess I shouldn't call him the C team because he actually owns the studio and he's like one of our.
In front of Trump.
Yeah, be over there. Don't be
over there when I'm talking to you. How about that?
Don't be covering Trump up. So yeah. So he's that's Will Worsham. You guys, we've had him on our show before. He actually owns Planet 417 Studio and allows us to have our show out here. He's also one of our show sponsors. So it's going to be good to have you on. He's got a lot to say. Yeah, you're gonna be joining in every now and then,
yeah,
Will.
I can. You know, I already did my show this morning.
You did.
I might be talked out, but I'll give you everything I got, Alex.
Wait, you're a lawyer. You're never talked out.
That's a good point.
He does his show, The Morning Waffle, right here on Planet 417. Things are happening out here in Rogersville. I don't know. I never thought I'd be out here in Rogersville so much, but things are happening. You got Will Worsham, myself, PA. I'm out here. We got Trump. He's out here, and then we got a special guest as well, Coach Chance Pott. He's going to be coming on here in just a couple seconds. Let me give you a rundown of what to expect today. It's probably going to be a little bit abbreviated show today. We had the pastor's perspective that we were going to bring in, Pastor Ray Smith from First Baptist Church in Battlefield, but we're going to reschedule him. But so here's what's going to happen. We'll go into what's the big deal. You guys know what we're talking about. One of my favorite subjects, DOGE. I got some thoughts on that. I'll give them to you. We'll go into an interview with Coach Chance Potts. He's a mental performance coach. We'll have him on. He's in studio right here. We'll give the top 3 stories of the day. What are they? The border crossings. They hit an all-time low. In like literally the first month of Trump's office or of his administration, we're already at a low there. And the terrorist cartels, they are not liking it. They're losing money. We got more on DOGE. Elon Musk, he sent out an email that's getting a lot of craziness. I can't wait to get your thoughts on that, Will, because didn't I hear you guys talking about it on your show this morning? Like the email, I thought I heard it when I was coming in.
We might have talked about it just a little bit.
Just briefly mention it.
We talked about the fact that Kash Patel said, you guys don't have to do that because FBI, maybe sensitive information. Don't want to give that to the 19-year-old. But I'm not worried about that. I'm sure, first of all, Kash got the president's permission to exempt his people, and I know he's going to be on him anyway.
And I think the Department of Defense, they're exempting a couple of the different departments, but I love the idea. But we got more thoughts on that. And then Trump, he's cutting billions in our taxpayer funds that has been going to illegal immigration by the stroke of a pen, and I got some thoughts on that. And then we'll go into what people are talking about. The Eagles, are they going to visit the White House? Are they not? Apple, they're going to be investing like $500 billion, not 500, but 500 billion in the United States. It's about 20,000 jobs down in Texas. How come Texas is getting everything? We need to bring some of that love to Missouri, as some of you guys would say. And then Springfield, man, if you were out on Friday night, I guess they had a little sting operation. That's kind of crazy there. They call it a saturation patrol. That's a new name for, they used to just call them like the checks, the drunk driving stops, but they had one of those in Springfield. So we'll get it all started. I'll pop-a-lopkin' and crack-a-lackin'. What's the big deal? I got my fill-in producer. Let's see if he knows how to hit.
What's the big deal? Opening news story.
All right, here we go. What's the big deal? Let me give you this, and this is a story that's been 3 years in the making. We've been following it. I remember when I was doing fill-in on the radio, talking about this a lot. The Russian invasion of Ukraine. They just celebrated the 3-year anniversary of that war. Absolutely ridiculous. It should have never happened. Trump has made that perfectly clear. If I was in office, they would have never invaded. It would have never happened. You know, and he talks about the weak leadership of Joe Biden. Because you guys remember when Biden was asked about it, you got Putin was taking all these troops to the border of Ukraine. He's saying, oh, it's just a military exercise. We're not really going to invade. And nothing to see here. And, you know, when Biden was asked about it, he's like, well, if it's a small incursion, I guess we won't do anything. And then next thing you know, bam, they've invaded. And now it's just absolutely ridiculous. You've talked about the loss of life in Ukraine, civilians, soldiers, estimated 1 million people. Russia, they've incurred huge losses as well to their military, a lot of money, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars. And so 3 years since the invasion happened. Now, Trump, he has made it known all the while he's sitting back watching, he's like, if I was in office, that would have never happened. We know that he doesn't like the fact that this war is going on. Trump, he doesn't like war. He wants to put an end to these conflicts, and he's working to end this war. Here's what Trump himself had to say. Check this out.
Is this with Macron?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do. I do deals. My whole life is deals. That's all I know is deals. And I know when somebody wants to make it and when somebody doesn't. I will say this, before I came here, there was no communication with Russia whatsoever, and Russia wasn't answering calls. They were not talking to anybody. They wouldn't talk to anybody, and people sort of accepted that as being that they want to go forward and just keep going without stop. But when I got here, one of the first calls I made was to President Putin, and we were treated with great respect, and they want to end this war. So that's a big thing, because I didn't know if I could say that, but it's a big thing. They want to do it, and the group in the front row that I introduced, they're all very active in it, and we're working on deals right now, transactions right now, and in particular, the big one is to get the war stopped, whether it's ceasefire or direct to an agreement. I'd like to go directly to an agreement, but ceasefire will always happen a little bit quicker, and every day you're saving thousands, or at least hundreds, but thousands in some cases lives, so we want to see if we can get that done.
You know, here's the deal. I mean, I get where Trump's coming from. He's like, he doesn't want war. He didn't like when Bush led us into the last war over there. He's like, what happened to weapons of mass destruction? There really weren't any. He came in even back in 2015, 2016, when he's running for office, just throwing shade at Bush, at Cheney. That's why the establishment doesn't like him. He's questioning that. He's like, we never should have went in that. That's a terrible war. I never would have voted for it. Trump doesn't like loss of life. That's his whole thing. I get that. And that's his political style. That's what he wants his administration known for. Now, here's the deal. I support Trump. I like Trump. You guys know that. I do. I don't necessarily know that I like the way he's going about this whole deal. He was wrong when he wasn't emphatic in saying that Russia started this war. I mean, Ukraine was invaded. They didn't want to be invaded. Trump is, going back in, and saying things like, well, NATO kind of, NATO goaded Ukraine or goaded Russia into invading Ukraine. And if, Zelensky would have done things different. No, I just disagree with Trump on that. I think that, this country was invaded. They didn't want to lose 1 million of their soldiers and citizens. They didn't want to lose billions upon billions upon billions of their infrastructure, innocent loss of life. And so, but here's the thing too, I'll say this, Zelensky's not going about this the right way. Trump is the new president. Trump's a strong leader. You can't insult Trump and expect to get what you want. That doesn't happen there. And I said this before, like over the last couple of years, I vacillated on, do I support this? Do I support what's happening? And, here's where I've kind of landed on the last couple of years. It was a terrible situation that Ukraine was put in. I admire the Ukrainian people, Zelensky, for being a strong leader, for fighting. They were just like, give us the weapons and we will fight. We will hold off the Russian army. And they've done that. They fought valiantly for the last 3 years. They obviously don't have the resources. They don't have the technology. They don't have the military weaponry, but their soldiers are handling their business and they're fighting for their land. They're fighting for their country. They're fighting for their people. You can't fault any country for doing that. Unfortunately, it's cost us a lot of our money. Weapons, cash. I mean, they're saying we've spent 250, 350 billion. We've sent over there. Europeans have given money. Again, I don't fault the Ukrainian people at all for coming in and asking for money from anyone. I would be doing the same thing. And now we find out they have these precious minerals that Trump is like looking at going, hey, listen, we want to be recouped for this. We want to be paid back. I don't fault Trump for doing that. I didn't know about that. I didn't know. That's why this dude's the president. He's the leader. He's saying, listen, we gave you this money. Now we want some of the minerals that you have. We want to recoup this stuff. And Zelensky's going, wait a minute, hold on. President Biden said it was a grant. You don't pay back a grant, I think his exact same thing. He says, this is what Zelensky said. We agreed with Biden that this was a grant. A grant is not debt. But Trump is going, nah, bro, we want our money back. And, so can two things be true? That's really the thing. My man Will, get in here, Will. My lawyer friend over here. Will, I think you need to be a little bit bigger, don't you? I mean,
yeah, I'm big enough.
You're big enough. All right.
I got to figure out how to. Let me see.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. So
better.
Yeah, there you go. So, what's your thoughts on this whole?
My first thought about this is I think Zelensky said, yeah, well, there's about 150 billion. We're not really sure where that went to. I mean,
yeah,
that's not okay. I mean, if I'm going to loan you, a little bit of money. Even if I'm going to grant you a little bit of money, I want to know that it went where I thought it was going to go. My fear is it went right back in the pockets of some Democratic congressmen or their foundations or something like that, because I think we're finding out more and more often that that's what happens.
Yeah, they're saying too that Zelensky, and again, this is reports. I'm not an expert. I'm not a journalist. I'm here for purely irresponsible speculation. Okay, so that's kind of what I do here. I tell you what I see and where I go. And I'm hearing that Zelensky's pocketing billions of dollars. He's got money in offshore accounts and some of their rich people. There's just so much money that's being thrown around. So much opportunity for fraud, for waste, for abuse.
I think one of the things that we as Americans don't understand because we're not used to it, but the rest of the world pretty much runs on graft. I mean, fraud is just cost of doing business in the rest of the world, and so it's really not surprising that you would find people in Europe or Ukraine, Russia, anywhere else, just taking their share off the top, because that's just the way business is done in the rest of the world. And they don't think a thing about it.
Yeah, you're right.
And, we live in a different society over here. We don't believe in that. But I mean, to your point, I mean, legally, a grant is a grant. It's a gift. You don't pay back grants. Loans are loans. You pay back loans. Now, whether or not that's what Biden and him agreed to, I mean, who knows?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Well, Trump is using the leverage of...
Biden doesn't know either.
That's a good point. Is it too soon to be making Biden jokes? You're right. It wasn't Biden. It was the staffers, the old Bernie Bros staffers that worked for Biden that were really running the country while he was in office.
The most important thing you can do in the war is get vaccinated.
Oh, my
Most
goodness.
important thing.
But here's the deal, though. Trump, even if it was a grant that he agreed with Biden, Trump is saying the leverage is this. You're not going to be a member of NATO, which is what Zelensky and Ukraine wants, because if you're a member of NATO, that means an attack on you is an attack on all of us, right. And Russia's never going to let that happen. The world's not going to go for that. So they're not going to be members of NATO. But what Trump is saying in his leverage with Zelensky is this. You're not going to be a member of NATO. You give us some of these minerals, you start paying us back this, we'll have a presence over there, military and everything. That will be a deterrent from Putin trying to attack you further down the road. Yeah. And Trump says this, I make deals. And he does. Yeah, and sometimes the art of the deal is messy. Sometimes things go back and forth. But you're giving that little smile over there. He makes some deals, doesn't he?
He gets it done. That's the thing. And I think that's what everybody's so shocked about. It was a funny little TikTok video of this girl crying. She's like, President Trump come in and he's keeping all his promises, and that's not what presidents are supposed to do.
I hadn't seen that one. But the thing is, he's getting crap done, and he's getting it done for the best interests of we, the people. And I like that. Hey, listen, it's like the play Hamilton. I love Hamilton. Our family, there's a Hamilton song for everything, but it's the art of the deal. No one wants to know how the sausage is made. I don't ever want to go to a sausage factory because I love ballpark franks. I love brats. I love the smoked sausage. But if I saw how it was made, I probably wouldn't. But I just want the deal done. And that's what Trump is doing. And, it's going to be a little give and take, that it's messy. I do support the fact, and I'm not regretting any money, any funds that we've given to help Ukraine decimate the Russian army. And, the Ukrainian people have been fighting for themselves. I go to a church with the Ukrainian pastor, and those people are very hardworking. They're proud. They're determined. And man, these are people saying, listen, we don't want your boots on the ground. Just help us out. We don't have the weaponry. We don't have the finances. But they are a proud people, and they have fought valiantly against the Russian army. And they've literally decimated this Russian army to the tune of about 1 million Russian soldiers that have been wiped out. And it's been a fraction of our military budget. And it goes back to this: the enemy of my enemy is also my friend. And so I don't regret helping the Ukrainians, but I am kind of like, it's time for this to end, because right now they're just fighting over how much the land they get to keep. And unfortunately, Ukraine, the big bad neighbor, Russia, they came in, they took some of your land. You guys have fought valiantly, but I don't see us just continuing to give our American taxpayer dollars so you guys can kind of keep fighting for, your parallel of how much land you get to keep or whatever, whatnot. Now, if you want to pay our money back, and we get some of these minerals, then that's a different story. And that's what Trump is talking about. And so, love him or like him, that's what the dude's doing, and he's trying to get it done. He's trying to close the deal. We will see how this deal goes. So, hey, that's the big deal right there. We still got the top 3 stories of the hour. We're going to do that. We still got what people are talking about. That'll be close to the end of the show. We got the new producer. I don't know how he's going to do yet. I'm just telling you right now, for the record, I'm not paying him, and just so you know that, so we don't know what kind of
getting your money's worth.
That's what I'm thinking. I'll probably get our money's worth.
I'm going to be worth every penny you're paying.
Oh my goodness. So we don't know we're going to get there, but we got Coach Chance Potts. He's waiting in the wings. We got some words from our sponsors, Planet 417 and the Will Worsham Law Firm. Actually, we're not paying you. You're actually paying us to do this show. So that's because you sponsor us. How cool is that, man?
That's all right.
So, hey, we'll be back with more with Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant.
I'm Will Worsham. After 20 years in criminal law, I shifted gears because I saw too many families suffer when the estate plan they thought was solid wasn't. Parents thought they had it all taken care of, only for their kids to find out too late that they didn't. That's why I created Worsham Workshops, entertaining, informative sessions where families learn to avoid the most common pitfalls in estate planning. You don't have to leave your family's legacy to chance. Join a Worsham Workshop and see why so many families trust us with their legacy. Visit worshamworkshops.com or call us today.
All right, welcome back to Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. We have joining me in studio, you see him, he's Coach Chance Potts. Now, I got to tell you guys this is Coach was on the radio with me a couple of times. This guy is an impressive guy. I met you. I'm going to kind of take a little, well, first of all, welcome, Coach. How you doing?
Thank you. Hey, excited to be here.
I'm going to tell you some of all the different hats that this guy wears. I met you, it's going to be about 5 years ago now, when we moved here to Springfield. Yeah. He was coaching the 6th grade football team. My son Josh was on the team. His son Cross is on the team. And Coach is a business owner. He's a coach at the Nixa. You were on the state runner-up. You were coaching the state runner-up team there. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Yeah, fun time.
Yeah. He's also a mental health fitness coach. He's an avid CrossFitter. The guy can go out right now and probably run a marathon.
No, not that far. Yeah.
He's a father. He's a community member, and just a good Christian man. So welcome to Frontline Faith, Coach. I love having you on because you kind of really, over the last, I'd say, couple years, kind of gotten into, is that right, about the mental fitness performance stuff, like over the last couple years?
Yeah, definitely on a much higher level the last 4 years. Yeah, myself and Coach Perry both jumped into the mental performance game, just how to help people think better so they can perform better.
Okay, so tell us, what is it that you're doing? Let's talk about that first. Then I want to go into kind of some of the actual things that you're doing, the information that you're giving, because it's quite impressive. I just love having you around me because, like, have you ever had, like, there's positive people, and not just, they just are like, just crazy optimistic, positive, like, oh yeah, everything's going to be okay. There's a line. Oh, he might not get me. No, it's not that, the false positivity, but like this is a man who literally feeds his mind, he feeds his spirit, he feeds his heart with the right stuff, and what's in the well comes out in the bucket. And so first tell us, what the mental performance coaching that you're doing, what's that all about?
Okay. Well, first I'd have to say I've needed it as much or more than anybody, so I appreciate the kind words and just having challenges with my thinking throughout life and being challenged in many ways. As this came to fruition, the last 4 years, I just wanted to turn, I guess, as some would say, maybe turn my mess into a mission. And that is just being raised with, like I said, challenging thoughts, a lot of challenges along the way, and being coached and encouraged along the way by coaches. A lot of this mental performance game is in the sports world. A lot of the top executives, celebrities, athletes will pay for mental performance coaches so that they can go and win at the highest level. And they'll say that the difference at that elite level of performance between two elite athletes is going to be their mind. It's their mindset. And that was the Michael Jordan, the Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
It's what they were known for. And so it's really bringing that to average people that want to turn their average or their ordinary into extraordinary. I think we all have that in us. You
know what? That reminds me of this, like the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants. I don't know if you've been following in the NBA now. They just had the All-Star game, and the pundits and the sports reporters are just blasting them because they're like, it's a joke now. These players don't care. They're not giving effort. And they're like, it stopped happening when Kobe left. They're blaming people like LeBron, who really, they're just like out there messing around. They're just out there scoring 190 points and playing no defense. And have you been following that controversy?
A little bit. And I study Tim Grover, who was Kobe and Michael's coach. They're one of the best mental performance coaches out there. Great book, Relentless. And yeah, I mean, those guys were at another level, and they challenged everybody else on their team to play at a higher level. You couldn't be on their team unless you were going to play at their level.
Because they would. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. And like, you just think about a couple of things I think about with Kobe. Remember that one play where he's like the guy's inbound the ball. He's trying to like get Kobe to flinch, and Kobe was just like, not even flinching at all. They showed clips of him at the All-Star game of when LeBron was first there. And when LeBron came on, obviously LeBron's a talented guy. You can't deny his talent. I mean, he was genetically engineered by God to do what he's doing. And I don't think LeBron cheats the game and necessarily with his own personal fitness, his own personal readiness, but he's not inspiring those guys around him to elevate it because like the quality is just gone down. And they show how when LeBron first came on, Kobe's like, I'm guarding this guy at the All-Star game, guarding him full court. That mindset was different, the Mamba mentality.
Yeah,
so
totally another level. And I don't know as much about LeBron. My boys and I like to argue over who the greatest was, and some of them are going to say LeBron, and I'm not. But
my son's there too. Trey is there. Yeah. Like, Trey, I think I failed him. I think I have failed him to think that LeBron is better than Jordan.
There is an interesting thing in general is that you don't hear a lot of negative about LeBron off the court.
No, it's true.
And so when you think about somebody who has that uber level of success and to not be having a lot of their choices are not coming out. That he's lived a pretty good life, man, and
family man.
I have a lot of respect for that. Yeah.
No, I get you there. So giving back to his community and stuff. So the mental performance coaching. You're studying things, athletes, that mindset. How does that apply to us average people, though? I mean, those guys are Jordan, Kobe, or even CEOs. What about me? I'm just an average dude.
Yeah. Well, me too. And I think that's what we try to do is just really bring just realness to the conversation, and that is many of us are going to have a hard time comparing ourselves to Kobe's and LeBron's that are up there competing at that level. But one of the things Tony Robbins is known for saying is one of the strongest forces in the human personality is the need to stay or remain consistent with how we see ourselves. And that is just staying in the familiar. We are more comfortable staying in our current discomfort than we are to go out and actually change our identity. And it may be very, very difficult, almost impossible for any of us to go become Kobe or MJ. But we could become 1% better than we are today. Tomorrow I could be 1% better. And if we can start to grasp, number one, becoming aware of the powerful force of our identity and how that plays a role, in how we think And you even alluded to this earlier when you were talking about how much what my inputs are daily. And we say, hey, when you squeeze an orange, what comes out? Orange juice, right? Yeah. Well, when life squeezes you, what comes out? Well, I don't know. What are you putting in? And so I'm very intentional about putting great stuff in. It's not because I'm not going to struggle. I still struggle every day, but I know the power of the compound effect of taking 14 minutes and 24 seconds, 1% of a day, and putting better stuff in my mind so that when I am challenged or when I want to challenge myself to get better and go to that next level, better stuff's going to come out. So it's very, very simple, and it's about getting 1% better. It's not about becoming MJ.
That's so good. 14 minutes and 27 seconds. I hadn't heard that. I've heard the 1% before. But I want to say this, though, and I'm going to ask a question. I obviously know the answer to this, but these people that are watching Frontline Faith here, they see you. I just gave your little bit of your bio. You're a business owner, you're a husband, you're a father, you own a couple businesses, you're a mental performance coach, you're one of the assistant coaches of the state, runner-up championship football team. You got a great life. Obviously, you've always had it that way. I mean, right? That's because that's what people would naturally think, right? I mean, you're in great shape here. You've been born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Is that kind of the deal?
That would not be the case. But I'm thankful for the challenges that I've had and very thankful. But it's been a life of honestly dysfunction that was exampled. Now, not in my mom's case. She was very functional and taking care of us as a single mom with my older sister, myself, and my younger brother who had a very severe disability. So I recognized challenges early on. They weren't necessarily my challenges as much as they were my mom's and my brother's. And that made me super sensitive to the challenges that everyone faces because my initial awareness of challenges was that of someone else's. And so I've always been encouraged and challenged to grow and respect other people's challenges so that I could go get better and just, honor and respect it and not waste it. And now my challenges came, and they have been off and on throughout life, but I've really just tried to respect the challenges that other people go through, whether it be a disabled body or a single mom trying to take care of 3 kids on zero money. Or, even I'm thankful for my dad loved me. There's a lot of people that don't have a father that loves them. Yeah. And he was very dysfunctional in relationships and finances, but he taught me a couple of things that were priceless. And I focus on the fact that my dad loved me, I loved him, and his dysfunction is an opportunity for me to learn how not to be. Yeah. Right? So there's
I want to stay there for a second because that, and I want people to get this. It's like you can start wherever you're at and you can start getting 1% better. I know Coach's story. Growing up, even you guys have had challenges, even as adults. And, you've shared your story before on my podcast, losing a child. Yeah. No one ever wants to go through that and the way that happened. You've been so supportive of me and my family. You guys know my story of our son, Mason, with the journey that he's been on. He is cancer-free, rang the bell, got the all clear from St. Jude's and so on and so forth. But also, too, you've been an inspiration, a motivation. Like, you didn't – people always think, well, you were born that way. You were born lucky. You were born blessed. You were born, rich, successful, whatever. But you got to work at it. And so no matter where you are, you could be watching this program right now. You could be, at what some would call rock bottom. Now, I had a guest on last week who said he doesn't like rock bottom because you can always go lower. But you could be not where you want to be. Your life could be in shambles financially, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, physically. But you can always start improving. Just kind of give a little word on that 1%. Like right now, somebody that's like watching this, that's like, they're like, how in the world can I, make this better? Yeah.
Well, I think of John Maxwell's quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. And while we cannot go back and begin again, we can always begin a brand new end, no matter where we are today. So if we're at that rock bottom point, hopefully we're sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Yeah. I mean, I think we've all felt sick and tired at times in our life. I didn't change, though, until I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And getting around people who are growth-minded, who also want to grow to some level, just getting to our next level. I think I would encourage somebody, if they're at that rock bottom, reach out to me, reach out to you, reach out to someone who cares about people, who cares about helping somebody just get to that next level. And sometimes getting to that next level doesn't feel like that. The greatest growth days for me oftentimes have been the days that I've felt the worst. I didn't realize it but growth was kind of happening like a seed. It's happening in the dirt. I don't know when I'm going to surface. I might feel like my life is in the dirt for a period of time, but if I can just keep putting better inputs in my mind, just a little bit every day, get around better people, and have the inputs be a little bit stronger each day, eventually my thoughts are going to break the surface of the ground, and it's going to find light, and it's going to find growth. And it just takes time. Now, it could take a day to change our thoughts. It could take a moment. It really depends. It's like, life doesn't take as long to change. It really is that moment in which we're ready to change.
Okay. So then let's talk about that, the whole process, like of getting from where you are to where you want to be. I'm hearing you first say it starts with a decision to decide you want to make that. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah. What's one area of your life? I measure 5 areas, and I look at it from a fitness standpoint, from sick, well, fit. And I've got spiritual, mental, physical, relational, financial.
That's what I want you to do. I want you to really look at these people in this camera, because this is good stuff. I've heard the 5 areas. I want to pretend like I'm not here and give them that teaching right there.
Yeah. So the 5 areas: spiritual, mental, physical. Those 3 are personal. That is, as they say, when you get on a plane, they'll say if the plane loses cabin pressure, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on your child. We've got to figure out how to grow ourselves first before we go try to help other people grow. Too often we're criticizing other people and we want to tell them how they should grow when we're not really looking at ourselves. And so spiritual, mental, physical, that's the first part. Then we can do better relationally and financially, but it also starts with taking an honest assessment. Where am I? If I were going to get on a scale of 1 to 10, where am I in my health from sick to well to fit on the other end? Where am I on that curve? Maybe I'm a 4 spiritually. Maybe I'm a 6, physically, but mentally I'm a 3 right now. Where am I? And it starts with knowing where I am. And I heard a coach tell me back in 2012, he said the average American, and this is 2012, so I think today it's maybe a little more challenged than this, but he said back in 2012, the average American on this abundant scarcity mindset scale is on the left side is scarcity and on the right side is abundant, and that same kind of a scale, and they said the average American's standing at about a 4.5. And I was like, wow, man, in the most abundant country on the planet, the average American's standing at a 4.5. He said, yeah, but that's not the most significant. If scarcity's over here and abundance over here, he's like, the issue is they're facing this direction. Now, you're not scarcity, but they're facing scarcity. And I was that person. I had previously, just taken in just negative stuff every day. I was letting the day dictate my day instead of giving it direction. And I just decided I'm going to start every day by putting better things in my mind, and I'm just going to turn around. So the idea behind the mental fitness training and the mindset coaching that we're doing is really just to help people turn around. We're not taking them from a 4 to a 5. That's them doing the work themselves. But we do want to cause them to turn around. No different than what you do here with this show. What you're doing, you're giving people some oxygen. You're giving them hope. You're helping them see some abundant perspective to the things that may be stressing them out because they don't understand. And you're helping bring clarity to areas that people don't understand much about, and just turning them around a little bit. And the idea is facing a better direction, putting better things in our mind. And then as we do that, we can move more towards that abundant mindset.
1% at a time.
Yeah, 1%. And go from being sick to eventually being well. I would rather be at a 3, moving to a 3.5 than being a 7 facing the other way.
Well, that's good.
Because I'm going backwards. I just don't know it yet.
That's one of the things I like. That's one of the reasons why I like about the stuff that you do. And I just posted if you're listening to this right now on our Facebook Live, and we'll put it on Planet 417 as well. I just posted for you all a link to Coach Potts, his Facebook. He gives a lot of inspiration, motivation on a pretty consistent basis, weekly basis. That'll at least give you access to him. And then why don't you tell them real fast how they can connect with your mental performance coaching stuff? But
sure.
But I did post that link there too.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that. You can go to onemorebenefit.com. That's just all spelled out, onemorebenefit.com. mentalbenefit.com. You can sign up for a free mental rep every week if you want to just get an email and a resource and a little video that we'll share with you each week. But if you want to get into the training, we do that about every other week. We actually do one today at noon as well as 8 p.m. Central Time. And so that's for people to jump on live, to interact with myself. Coach Perry and I both lead this, and we'll have other guest coaches on at times as well. And those are usually 45 minutes to an hour, and it's a training where we're going in deeper and really working on improving our mindset. If we can think better, we can live better, and then we then become more equipped to serve and give better. And we're most equipped to serve the person we once were. So there's not a person listening or out there that may listen one day that can't one day help somebody they used to be.
That's so good. There's a lot of stuff right there that he just said. And I want to just mention this real quick. He's talking about Coach John Perry. He's the coach of Nixa High School. And obviously you've seen the success that program's had. I'd like to think that it started when I got on the school board there. But right. Maybe it was before that. Yeah. But they just, absolutely went and had a great football season, second in the state, Class 6A. And then obviously you can see the results and the players that you guys are coaching. Jackson Cantwell, the #1 recruit in the nation in the junior class. A couple other players that are D1, a couple other players that are going to football. So this is working because you're talking about. I want to look at like a player like a Dylan Rivera. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an undersized guy who came from a rough family life, and we're talking from one year to the next. Killed it. And a lot of that was obviously his physical performance, but that started with the mental side of things. So talk on that a little bit, Coach.
It did a lot. And he's a great young man. And he was a great young man when we started working with him as a freshman and a sophomore when he came into the program. But to see the significant change in his mindset over the course of the 4 years, the kids that just graduated this last senior year have been in the mental performance coaching their entire career. So that was the first group to graduate, all playing under Coach Perry, and Dylan is a great example. He would tell you he was struggled by his thinking, making poor choices, getting in trouble. I can resemble that way back when. And what we found was over the course that just the constant compound effect of Dylan and the other kids, Dylan became a leader on the team and was one of the most mentally tough and physically tough kids on that team. Like I said, not a real big guy, but taking a pounding every day, has a phenomenal offensive line. But one of the most impressive things about Dylan was what we call yards after contact.
Yak.
He didn't just run the ball through the hole the guys gave him. When he got hit, he kept running the ball because he was that tough and he was so hard to bring down. And his mindset is going to carry him into college, and he's going to one of the top programs up in Iowa, and he's going to do a phenomenal job. But the impressive thing to me was how great of a young man he is off the field.
That's cool.
And how much more he's grown from when he was a freshman and sophomore, kind of looking at the program and the big Nixa school, and he was looking at the glitz and the glamour of being a running back and scoring touchdowns. Not that he didn't love that. He still loved it as a junior and a senior, but he was just a much more mature young man and carried himself very well for the team.
So, you mentioned, and I said there's so much I want to get to on this, and we're talking with Coach Chance Potts. He is a mental performance coach, and you can check him out, onemorebenefit.com. That's that's his website. But you mentioned these 5 areas again, and the one reason I connect with this and resonate, because I really look at, you become one of my good friends. We go to lunch on a regular basis. I remember a couple years ago, I kind of went to you, and it's humbly, I was like, hey, I need to spend more time around you, because I like to try to look at, we kind of was on the same area, like I say, spiritual, mental, social, emotional, intellectual, and you have, your areas there. And I recognize, like my health journey, I'm like, you have challenged me and encouraged me, just get better a little bit at a time, 1% at a time. And I'm a big offensive lineman. I've always been. I'm like, hey, I told my wife I'm not trying to bait and switch her, so I don't want to lose weight or whatever, but I definitely have to. Yeah. And the thing I love about you, and I'm like, hey, always be on me. You don't nag me. You don't hound me. You inspire me to want to keep going. And even on times when I mess up or I fail, I always remember, okay, well, today's a new day, 1%. I can get better today. So talk to those people who are like, want to make the change, but they find, man, I'm just failing. They're struggling with that. In the Bible, it's Romans chapter 7, that thing that I don't want to do, I find myself doing. Every time I go to do good, sin's right there with me. So talk to those people that are in that struggle. What would you say to them?
Wow. Well, we're all in it. right? And it may not always seem that way.
Well, first
but
of all, you don't look at these guns, man. You don't look like you have a struggle. Like you see
I
these over here,
do.
Will? Like this dude.
Yeah, I promise you I do. Just from the family that I come from, and I love my family, they're awesome, but have a lot of what we would call metabolic syndrome. So my dad passed away a few years ago, but he had 7 amputations over his last 20 years due to non-compliant diabetes. And there's a lot of diabetes, a lot of heart disease in my family, a lot of what I would call very unhealthy obesity. There's different levels of health. And so very sedentary, not any athletes in my family to speak of. And so I had that at one end, and then I had the disabled brother at another end. And so for me, health was important continually. But yeah, it comes back to just doing one thing. And today, and I could actually share another podcast, a guy that's been in the fitness world for a long, long time. He was just recently interviewed. I'll send you the info and you can share it with people if you want, but it's about the power of walking. We're all able, well, not all of us, a lot of us are able to walk, but the power of walking and metabolizing fat. So elevating your heart rate just a little bit, but not going too high, is actually a better way to metabolize fat than what is perceived, and that is running and jogging. See, a lot of times our perception is, I've got to go jog. I have to elevate my heart rate to jog or run or do this intense exercise or do CrossFit. And that is not the case.
Okay, see, now I'm listening to you,
Yeah.
bro. Talk to me about this walking thing.
We need to walk, and we could then add some steps to it eventually. But again, we want to keep our heart rate in a range that is more equipped to burn and metabolize fat in our body. Because what will happen is if we go and we do a really, really hard workout, we're going to burn all the glycogen in our body, which is all the carbs, let's call it, just the taste good stuff, right? And we finish the workout, and what do we want to go do? We want to go eat it all again, right?
Yeah.
Well, you could go do a walk at a low heart rate. It's not going to say you're not going to be a little bit hungry, but you're not going to be famished like you just have to go take in all these carbs. It's going to be an even state of energy, and most of us are capable of doing that. And if we can't, like I'll use my mom as an example. She's 86. She would not think she could go walk, but she has this little step machine that she uses in her duplex, and she just does these steps, and it's just more activity than sitting still, right?
It's good.
Yeah, so
that's so good. I love, the things that I like about what you're doing with your mental performance coaching. I mean, I'm hearing you say this. First of all, you got to be faced the right way. I mean, that stinking thinking. A lot of people are just faced with the negativity, and then negativity breeds negativity, and then you get to where you're depressed, and when you're depressed, you don't want to do anything.
No doubt.
I'm hearing you say, just turn the right way, face the right way, make that decision that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yep. And then 1%, just focus on 1%, not focusing on making this drastic life change. I'm not going to go from not, and I try to exercise. I exercise a couple times a week. I need to get more consistent. That's the thing that's always there. Like, I know it's excuses. I'm traveling, whatever, but I'm not stopping. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm not stopping, but my goal would be 3-4 times a week. If I can get to, 1.5, 2 times a week, just a little bit better every time.
Yep.
And so I'm hearing you say that. And then I'm hearing you talk about the balance in these 5 areas. And I want you to talk a little bit more just about the rhythm. I talk about the rhythm of life, that balance is so important. And this is why I think that it is, because let's say you do mess up and fail in one area, you're not throwing the whole plan out. You might have messed up there,
right,
but you can always get back off. Is it on the wagon or off the wagon? I don't know. So.
Yeah, well, I would go back to another perspective, and that is too often we think we need to go do a 30-minute or a 1-hour workout. And if we could just go back to that 1%, 14 minutes and 24 seconds, even if you start with 4 minutes or a minute, just do a minute every day, do 4 minutes a day. We're all capable of doing 4 minutes a day, and it's about that compound effect of changing my identity. I am healthy. I do exercise. I care about my health. It's all these things that are going up in my mind. And as I establish that habit of 4 minutes a day to then build it to 14 minutes a day, the power of the compound effect of 14 minutes and 24 seconds every day for a year compared to what most of us will do is we'll start January 1, we'll go work out for 10 days to 2 weeks at a high level and stop, because it's way too much to change long term from where we are. We're trying to change too much over a short period of time. So that's one thing that I would just want to come back to. But when you get to talking about the 5 areas and balance, I actually love this. I got to listen to probably maybe the only billionaire I think I've ever actually been face to face with. But I was on a trip out of the country and got to listen to a young man, or an older guy, I guess, but about maybe a few years younger than me. But this guy's made it financially, right? A lot of people would say, hey, it'd be great to make it to that. But what was interesting is I got to listen to him, and he brought up the issue about balance in life. And I subscribe to more what this guy talks about, and I think you may as well. And that is, while many of us are striving for balance, it may be more important to have a solid foundation. So when I look at the 5 areas, faith is my foundation. So I want to have faith as my foundation so that when life is out of balance, I have a foundation that can handle it. And the other areas, rarely are we going to have perfect balance in a given day. Now, we could have balance from a 30,000-foot view. I do strive for that, meaning these 5 areas, I want to grow my fitness, my health. I want to improve my health in those areas to become more well or more fit. I definitely want to have a balance or a rhythm of moving in that direction in all 5 areas. For me, I believe the most important is the faith. It's the spiritual health and wellness and fitness there. And that is the foundation. If we get that right, then we can handle all the different seasons, because we're going to have seasons, right? We're going to have the fall, the winter, the spring, the summer. And we're going to have that in life too. I mean, there's just going to be times, as we've gone through life. I mean, we're now, similar generation, but yet in our 20s and our 30s, it's a different season. When you have young kids, you're trying to build your career, things are not going to be very balanced.
That's good. Coach Chance Potts, he's a mental performance coach. Coach, I'm gonna have you wrap it up with a final thought and a final word, but I want to just let you know something. You now have been in the presence of 2 billionaires. Will Worsham is over there right now. You've met him face to face. So,
yeah.
But Will, he had something to say. He's like, am I going to say it or not? He's not denying it that he is a billionaire.
That would be billion with a Y.
With a Y.
Yeah,
Okay.
Y.
Yeah.
So, Coach, leave him with the word, final thoughts on this. And then, well, first of all, tell people once again how they can connect with you. I want you to leave them with the word. And then when we're done, if you will, go to that, to the show and then put on there your official link. I just put your Facebook link, but I want you to be able to connect with you. So
yeah, I will. So you can find us at onemorebenefit.com. If you want to join us today at noon or 8 p.m., you can definitely do that. If you're able to join between now and then, it's $10 a month. So for less than the cost of a lunch, you're going to be able to get some great input into your mindset and improve your thinking so you can improve, hopefully, your living. And then really what we want to help people do is get to where they can serve. They're going to give more. And, the thing that really hits me was what I was listening to you all. And I have to say, I'm super impressed. I've always been impressed with you and your family, not just you, but your entire family. And super thankful we're friends. Very impressed with the studio. And I've been here one other time. It's phenomenal. Yeah. I am impressed with the impersonation of Trump. I had no idea you had a little bit of the Trump.
You know what? I mean, no one does a Trump better than I do the best. No, there's people that do much better.
Yeah, the thing I was listening to, there's always activity, right? In politics, there's always activity. There's not always progress. Activity does not equal progress. I think that's another misperception we can have, is that activity does not equal progress. Progress equals progress. And so we can all fall into this trap of being busy, and thinking, I don't have the time. We all have 24 hours in the day. So it's how do we prioritize that time? Do we want to be active and not make progress? Because that's where everybody is. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be where the masses are. We just want to make a little bit of progress. Come back to that 1% a day and be thankful for the progress that's happening in our country right now, and work on joining in that. Get congruent with what's going on. I mean, Trump is how old?
74, 75 or something like that? No, he's going to be 80.
I think he's older.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, he's working circles around me. I wake up and I think, am I working as hard as that man?
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I got a long way to go, regardless of how people feel or believe or whatever. That dude's out working 98% of our entire country right now. And I got a lot of work to do, and I'm more excited now than I've ever been before to go and do it and help people think better and help people make progress, because that's something we can all do.
Well, we appreciate you. And I put your onemorebenefit.com. I put it on the Facebook there. We'll put it on
Thank
the
you.
Plan 417. Coach Chance Potts, mental performance coaching at noon today. They can get on the call. And if they go to onemorebenefit.com, they'll get a
sign
link
up
to
right
that.
there.
And then it's also at 8 o'clock tonight. It's good stuff. I've done them before. Yeah.
Donald Trump is 78 years old.
78. There you go. So that
And he's outworking most 28-year-olds.
And it's a lot of it's mindset too, and that's
No
what
doubt
talks
about it.
The mental performance coaching. Coach, got to have you back again. Thanks for joining us
Thank
on
you. Love
Frontline
you, brother.
Faith. So,
Yep, thanks.
hey, let's get to word from our sponsor. We got Will Worsham, and then maybe you got the Planet 417 too, because they sponsor us. We'll get those, and then we'll be back with top 3 stories of the day. That's next.
I'm Will Worsham. After 20 years in criminal law, I shifted gears because I saw too many families suffer when the estate plan they thought was solid wasn't. Parents thought they had it all taken care of, only for their kids to find out too late that they didn't. That's why I created Worsham Workshops, entertaining, informative sessions where families learn to avoid the most common pitfalls in estate planning. You don't have to leave your family's legacy to chance. Join a Worsham Workshop and see why so many families trust us with their legacy. Visit worshamworkshops.com or call us today.
Top stories of the day.
Top 3 stories of the day. That's right here. The first one is the Bears. I'm excited about our season, people. Got our new coach. We got the quarterback. We make some moves on defense. We get an edge rusher. Myles Garrett, maybe I'll take Khalil Mack back. We get a couple offensive linemen, and it's Super Bowl.
Hey, it's pitchers and catchers report, Alex. It's baseball season.
Oh, okay, then it's always football season. But I do like the Cardinals. You a Cardinal fan, Will?
Yeah, I just wish they still played baseball up there, you know. Once they added the designated hitter to the
Yeah.
I lost a lot of interest in all the new rules about trying to make the game faster.
You don't like that?
I don't like it at all. I mean, baseball is a thinking man's sport, and they're trying to take all that out of it and make it a fast-paced sport, and that's never what baseball was. Baseball, once you understood baseball and you understood that every pitch is a battle between that pitcher and what their pitch selection is and how they're going to decide what pitch to throw based on who the hitter is, who the pitcher is, how many men on base, what the score is, what the count is. It's a whole different ball.
It's a chess game.
And they're getting rid of all that.
Okay, so you sound like you're a traditionalist, first of all.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. They're trying to bring the young people back in because they want the TV money.
I get it.
And that's what it's all about, because they're giving – so, like, is baseball eating itself? You give these players $50, $60 million, $725 million deals? Yeah. What?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they are. I don't think that this is the path to longevity for baseball, changing it into – a fast-paced sport like basketball or even football. That's not what baseball is.
Look at basketball. Ratings are down in basketball too, and they're giving these guys $50 million. Like, dudes coming off the bench making $30 million in basketball. How can that sustain itself?
Yeah, I don't think it can. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. But as entertainment dollars maybe get a little tight, it's gonna hurt them all.
Yeah, but are they getting tight with Amazon coming on strong? Hulu, they're just bidding like crazy.
Well, when you've got a couple $1 million federal workers that no longer have the opportunity to sit around and watch TV all day because they got to go.
Well, that's a good point.
That's going to make a difference somewhere.
Something's got to happen there. So, all right. Well, a couple stories I want to hit on with you, and I'll do them real briefly. And again, thank you to Will for filling in. Our normal producer Frizz is out sick today, and so Will's in. Just got a little bit more of the show there for you. I got a couple stories, top 3 stories of the day. Number 1, border crossings hit a new low as President Trump administration battles the terrorist cartels. Kristi Noem, she was on Jesse Waters last night, and here's what she had to say. Check this clip out.
Security Secretary Kristi Noem joins me now. How are you doing? Secretary? I'm doing great, Jesse. Thanks for having me on tonight, and thank you for previewing that ad. Those ads will be running not only in the country, but also internationally, all around the world, telling people that we are a nation of laws. Don't come to America if you plan to break our laws and if you don't plan to come legally.
What kind of evidence are you seeing so far that these caravans have stopped, these people are self-deporting, and this thing's kicked into high gear?
Yeah, it's been incredible to see the numbers trickle down almost to zero. We are talking less than a couple of hundred of people that we're encountering a day when it was literally over 10, 11,000 under Joe Biden. So it's been remarkable just what President Trump has been able to accomplish in these first few weeks of his administration. And remember, Jesse, one of the things that a lot of those news reporters don't want to talk about is the fact that President Trump doesn't have all of his people in place yet today. He doesn't have all of his team leading all of these agencies. He needs to get them confirmed and in place so that they can be a part of the solution. But seeing that flow slow down has been incredible. And the message that we're sending to the rest of the world through these commercials and through this marketing campaign is don't come here. We don't want illegals. We don't want criminals. That America is a place where you come to pursue the American dream, and that this president will always put Americans first.
How uncooperative have some of...
Hey, I'm going to tell you this. Kristi Noem, she's got a simple message. I think it starts with the messaging. And she says it directly, clearly, plainly. Don't come. If you're an illegal planning to come here illegally, don't come. We don't want you here illegally. Now, stop and think about that. That is not saying we don't want immigrants here. No one's ever saying that. Our country is built on immigrants. Immigrants are welcome here, but you got to do it the right way. Of anyone that's ever people that say, oh, well, they're racist, they're xenophobic, they don't like immigrants. That's so ridiculous. I've helped people that tried to come to this country come here legally before. I've gone to the embassies, to the consulates. I've written letters for people. I've walked through the process with people to try to get here legally, several people. And it is a process. It's a process. And it takes time. And I know a lot of these people now who are like, hey, we don't want, it's not fair that people are trying to cut the line and do it. I had to go through the long process. That's what's up.
I've actually hired 2 people to work for me that were born in other countries, and one actually was citizen before I hired her, but I hired one employee that was here on a work visa, and we were working through the process of getting her a permanent work visa and complying with all of the right things that you're supposed to do, and frankly, really getting the runaround. She was a highly talented. She had a master's in accounting. It was very, very difficult. It was interesting. Our application was first denied, and the denial we got from the federal government for giving her a work visa was that a divorce attorney based in Little Rock, Arkansas doesn't need a forensic accountant. And I'm like, you looked at the wrong website. They went to worshamlaw.com, which is not me. It's a guy named David Worsham in Little Rock. I'm at willworshamlaw.com.
Wow.
So they completely blew it. I mean, I was a criminal defense attorney doing white-collar crime. I had every reason to have a forensic accountant on staff. Made it very difficult. We actually had to sue them to try to get them to reopen the case. And by golly, the day that Obama announced his Dreamer Initiative, we magically got an approval for that person. So
these things take forever too. I mean, I've been working with a kid who came here to go to school. I'd say kid, but he's a young man, and we're talking 4 years now, 4.5 years. Been trying to get his wife over here. Child, he gets to go back and forth. Crazy process. They won't approve them. People say, well, you know what? Just have them fly down to Mexico and walk across the border. Then they can get here.
Well, maybe if we weren't spending all our resources processing all of the folks trying to come through here illegally, we'd have a little more staff and people to process the people that are trying to do it the right way.
And that's the thing. And people, I remember when I took years ago when I was college and young adult pastor, took a trip to Venezuela, had a couple young men that go with me. We took about, 30 students with us, and a couple of them met young ladies there, fell in love. And and they wanted to get married. It took years. We're talking letters written, and they finally came here legally. And both of them have wives from Venezuela, and they're going, we're against illegal immigrants. You know how much we had to spend, how much time, money, everything. Had a young lady that was here from Haiti. Again, I say young lady. I'm 53. She's probably in her 40s or maybe even close to 50s now. But she came here on a work visa, outstayed her welcome, and then was here illegally. We counseled her as a part of the discipleship process. You need to go back and do it legally. And we helped her get here legally. Another gentleman, we helped him get here legally. He was from Colombia. You got to do it the right way. We're not against illegal immigration, but I love the message. If you're trying to come here illegally, don't come. because we're going to send you away. Kristi Noem is saying, and you'll never be able to come here. That's fair. That's just. That's what's right. And so here's the thing to note, though. After 1 month, only 1 month being back in the Oval Office, President Trump has already made significant strides in stemming the illegal immigration crisis at the nation's southern border. Like literally, according to a report from the U.S. CBP, the number of illegal migrants encountered at the southern border has dropped to years low. Here's some numbers on this. January of this year, U.S. Border Patrol encountered 29,116 illegal immigrants. Now compare that to a year ago. January 2024, we exceeded 124,000 illegal immigrants. That represents a drop of about 75%. They're not even encountering them because they get the message that Trump is saying, don't come. As compared to Biden's message, oh yeah, well, do it on our app, or, don't come, wink, wink. Yeah, whatever. So that's the deal there. Here's the second topic, top stories of the hour. Elon Musk, he sent an email to all government employees asking them what you did, what you got done last week. And he gave this song. Oh, you got the... I love it. He says this: please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. The deadline is Monday at 11:59 Eastern time. So they sent that out on Friday, and that's just gotten all kinds of stuff. So, Will, I got to get your take as a lawyer. Is this because the left is going, this isn't legal? Even Trump's own team is giving him blowback. Department of Justice and, the top secrets. So what do you think, Will?
Well, I think you got to look at, how the government is organized. Who's in charge of all of these branches? Donald Trump is.
Donald Trump.
We got the good lesson from Stephen, I can't remember his last name now. He was my favorite person 2 or 3 days ago. But he lectured the press corps on the way government's organized and government works. He got it.
Oh, Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Their boss, their ultimate boss of everybody in the executive branch is Donald Trump. And when he says, hey, Elon's my deputy, he's going to oversee this. I'm an employer. I have every right to ask my employees to tell me what they did. That's all he's doing. It's ridiculous. We have to look at it from the perspective of, can a boss inspect and make sure their employees are doing their job? Absolutely.
Okay, so the left is, and I want your legal opinion on this one. The left is he's not he's an unelected, person. What brings him in? Now, if Trump was to hire a third party to do this, an independent auditor, would that be legal?
Sure. Yeah. You've got to look. Our government, a majority of the people working for our government now are actually independent contractors. Bill Clinton started that back in the 90s. He said, I've pared down the federal workforce. He did, but exploded the independent contractors that they're hiring. So, the argument that he's not unelected, he's not, he's an independent contractor, that's the way our government has been doing business since under Clinton. So this is a total false flag, red herring.
Yeah. It didn't seem like people had a problem in 1993 when Bill Clinton got rid of 377,000 government workers.
With that. And, all of these bureaucrats are unelected. They're all unelected. It's the biggest boondoggle hypocrisy to make those claims about Elon Musk. it's absolutely ridiculous.
So Elon and Trump, they said they want these 5 bullet points, and they said their main goal, because they believe there's a lot of bots work that are supposedly occupying these jobs, getting paid, and they're not really working. They're saying, hey, we wanted to see. I'm okay with them sending out an email, saying, hey, tell us what you did. I don't think it's necessarily about the content, like they're going to reprimand you on it. They just want to know, are you a real person or not?
Yeah, that's what's interesting is originally when I saw the email, I thought, well, they're wanting people to justify their job, but that's probably, it sounds like a secondary, even tertiary issue here. They just want to know, is there anybody on the other end of this email that's going to read it and respond? And that's brilliant. And I'm okay with them even wanting to know, what are you doing? Because, that's efficiency, and we should want that. So Trump, he's supporting Elon, and, he kind of doubled down. Elon doubled down again. Here's what Trump had to say about this email. Sure I have.
Okay, no, okay then. Well, Trump came out and said, hey, he was at a press conference. He's like, hey, I'm okay with it. He's like, Elon's trying to get to the bottom of this. And so the Democrats, the left, they're going crazy. Now, here's the question is, why? Why are they going crazy? Why are they fighting so hard against an administration who's trying to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse of our taxpayer dollars? I thought about this. And I think there's only 3 real reasons of why they're going crazy. Number one, what do they have to hide? I mean, these Democrats, these elected officials that are having a problem with this, do they have anything to hide? Are they afraid that we're going to ask questions of how, based off of AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, you make $190,000 a year, and you've only done that for 6 years, how are you worth $6 million? I think that's a good question to ask. When they go and ask people, like, whether it's Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi or Jasmine Crockett, any of them, you name them, how off of a government salary you're worth $60-70 million? Joe Byron, how you've been an elected official who's made a couple $100,000 a year, how are you now worth $90 million? Like, this is the question to ask. Like, they're selling us out, so they don't want us to know how the sausage is made, how they've been doing it. So what are they trying to hide? That's the first thing. Here's another reason why they are fighting so hard against it. Are they not engaged enough? Or they just don't care enough that our money is being wasted? Does it not hit home to them? Because, like, to us, it does. We work like a third of the year to give taxes to the government. And we're just supposed to be like, oh, just spend it how you want to. We don't care. Nah, bro. It's a lot of money being sent. It's a lot of money being sent. Do you not care? Are you not engaged? Or here's the other possibility. Do they just hate Trump so much that they just don't want to see him have a win? That's what I really think it is.
I'm going to vote for all 3, Alex.
All 3. Any others that I missed on that? I mean,
I think you pretty well got it covered. I mean, I think it's all true. I think this USAID thing, I think we really pulled the rock up on that thing and found all the dirty worms and the bugs and all the nasty stuff when we did that. Because, I think it's been pretty clear for a long, long time that our legislators are funding NGOs, and the NGOs are making campaign contributions back to our legislators, and they're funding the NGOs, and the NGOs are making campaign contributions. And it's just money laundering. And then they're turning around, and if that's not bad enough, they're buying NBC, they're buying CBS, they're buying the New York Times. They own our complete mainstream media, and they're just using it to spread leftist propaganda. And it's our taxpayers that are paying for that.
You're absolutely right.
That are paying for all that. That's why Planet 417 is here. Nobody owns us but us. And we're going to tell the truth right here. That's what's up.
Planet 417. But Joe Rogan, his interview with Mike Benz last week, he went into all that stuff, how they're trying to buy influence in governments. They're trying to, they use this slush fund, USAID, and it's not even foreign aid. They talked about what it is. It's the U.S. Agency for International Development. And they have a budget of $50 billion, which is larger than the CIA budget. All of intelligence budget is $70 billion. They're using it to influence these countries, their governments, the leaders, elections, the media. It's a big old slush fund. And so, I like that it's been exposed. So that's the deal there. Third top 3 story of the hour is Trump. He has signed an executive order that's cutting billions in taxpayer funds to illegal immigrants. This new executive order. So Trump, he signed it. It's ending taxpayer subsidization of open borders. That's quite simply what it is. The order requires all federal agencies to identify every single dollar spent on illegal immigrants through federally funded programs. That includes that support so-called sanctuary cities and or states. It also calls for stricter eligibility verification to ensure benefits do not go to illegal immigrants due to the administrative oversight. So we just want to make sure these illegal immigrants are not getting benefits that are supposed to go to American taxpayers. So this executive order bans all taxpayer money used to incentivize and support illegal immigration. Federal agencies must now cut all programs that funnel money to illegal immigrants. People say, well, that's just not right. That's not Christ-like. That's not Christian. Nah, bro. The government is not supposed to be sending money that U.S. taxpayers send to support, incentivize, continue illegal immigration. And as a Christian, I don't feel bad for not wanting that to happen.
No, I mean, all that conversation, all that, even the justification for USAID, it's frankly nothing but emotional extortion. And I'm not going to fall for it anymore. I know that people need help. I know that we're called to help people, but we're called to help people individually and personally, not to abdicate that responsibility to the federal government and wipe my hands of it and say, see, I voted for that, so I did my job. I don't have to do anything personally for that. It's very un-Christian to actually abdicate that responsibility to the federal government. You're supposed to serve people individually. It's not
absolutely. And then stop and think about this. The annual costs just to care for and house the known gotaways and illegal aliens cost approximately $451 billion. That's according to a report issued by the U.S. House of Homeland Security. $451 billion yearly. That's $500 billion. That's our taxpayer money. And that is what Will just said, emotional manipulation. And as Christians, we don't have to go for that. No. I mean, again, I just told you stories of how I've helped people get here legally. Will told you a story of how he hired someone that was an immigrant. We like immigrants. We're not against that, but we are against people breaking the law and us being emotionally manipulated to try to turn a blind eye or deaf ear to that and or even support it. We're not having it. I'm not having it. So, man, we're kind of winding down here. We got what people are talking about. That's going to be next. Let's give another promotional video for our sponsor, Will Worsham, the law firm.
I'm Will Worsham. After 20 years in criminal law, I shifted gears because I saw too many families suffer when the estate plan they thought was solid wasn't. Parents thought they had it all taken care of, only for their kids to find out too late that they didn't. That's why I created Worsham Workshops, entertaining, informative sessions where families learn to avoid the most common pitfalls in estate planning. You don't have to leave your family's legacy to chance. Join a Worsham Workshop and see why so many families trust us with their legacy. Visit worshamworkshops.com or call us today.
What people are talking about.
Welcome back to Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. What people are talking about? Dan Bongino. Oh, my. This is a bittersweet deal. Dan Bongino, he has been invited or asked and tabbed by Trump to be the new deputy director of the FBI, and he has accepted that. Here's what Trump had to say. Trump says, great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has just been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology and he goes on and gives this. Now, guys, I want to say this. This announcement is huge because Dan Bongino, man, he is a voice, a conservative voice, up and coming. Like you talk about when Rush Limbaugh died, there's a void. Tucker Carlson's trying to fill that in, Megyn Kelly, if you will, Sean Hannity. But Dan Bongino is a voice that people listen to, syndicated radio. He's making millions. Here's what Dan Bongino had to say. Oh, do you have this? Okay, what?
Give me a second.
Okay, then. Yeah, I forgot. We don't have, so yeah, I've been Will filled in last minute, and man, he's trying to make this stuff work. But Dan Bongino, this is a huge loss. I mean, this guy, he's sacrificing for the good of the country.
All right. How do you start today's show? No, I howl. Jasmine's sitting there kind of laughing. Like, what do you say? Hey, guys, Monday morning. Well, let me give you a weekend update. Quite the weekend update. Kind of probably the most interesting weekend update ever. And the interesting thing about this weekend update is producer Jim, at least on the radio show, is not going to have to run the let's take a brief interlude into Dan's personal life because my personal life is no longer personal. Folks, I'm sure by now you've heard the news. Wait, do I have it? Oh, no, I already took it. Sorry. Someone gave me the man card, gave me like an actual man card one day. Like it's a little, looks like a credit card, kind of a joke, obviously. So let me just turn that in right now because this may be a little bit emotional and let me apologize in advance. I was home last night and I'm sitting there, I was watching a show. I don't even know what I was watching. Food That Built America or something like that. And I was falling asleep. because it had been a really long day. Now you know why, and some of you kind of understand why the show had a different tone over the last couple of weeks. And I got a call from the president, and it couldn't have been nicer. And I obviously keep the contents of it between us, but I think you get the gist about what it was about. And it kind of broke down a bit because it was, this is now real. So President, Attorney General Bondi, and now Director, gosh, that sounds good to say, FBI Director Kash Patel offered this role, a role I expressed an interest in. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you, you see, it's hard for me. I'm going to accept the role proudly as the Deputy Director, the number 2 spot at the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
I tell you what, man, Dan Bongino, that's probably one of the top podcasts in the country, top radio. He's going to lose millions of dollars by serving us, the people.
Yeah, well, I guess he's going to stop doing the podcast.
He has to. He's saying he's walking away from the show. They got to transition. I don't know if he's putting somebody else in there. But how can you do that? Will, you're the lawyer. Like, you're talking about the deputy director of the FBI. Well, you can't go on and talk about this stuff, can you?
Well, you can go and talk about, there's certainly some things you can talk about.
Yeah, but what makes his show so good is that he gives his take on it, like former Secret Service. I mean, like,
he's definitely going to have, he's definitely going to be a little more limited in the things he can say in public. But golly, what a great guy to have in there, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, you know, when you get perspective on things like this, and I just had the perspective of the last couple of weeks. You know, it's like the kindergartners have been running the classroom all by themselves, and suddenly the teacher showed back up, you know? And the kids are like, oh no, we're in trouble, we're gonna have to behave, you know, and the adults are back in the room finally going, you know, we're getting rid of all this nonsense, put away the crayons, put away the goofy hair, put away your dresses and your playtime and all your toys. It's time to get back to business and run the country instead of playing around with all this goofy stuff we've been dinking around with for the years, and the military and all that, and getting rid of them generals. Man, that was awesome. I love to see all that happen. Just wasting our time, wasting our tax dollars, and hurting our country. And man, the adults are back in charge. It's good to see.
You know, it's so interesting because remember after Trump's first term, they were like, oh yeah, now we're going to finally get an adult back in charge, somebody that knows what he's doing, Joe Byron. And it's like, you saw how that worked out. I mean, because Joe Byron wasn't running the country. It was the Bernie Bros.
Well, we still don't know who was running the country. We never will.
Okay, listen. I'm going to take time. Let's speculate. I've said this before. Jill Biden, she was running some show. Remember, because Bernie Jill hired a lot of the Bernie Bros staffers that were working for Bernie Sanders because they were like the radical left policies. They had a role in it, these 27-year-old staffers. Ron Klain.
I mean, realistically, wasn't Obama running?
Obama was doing some puppet strings.
We don't have it today, but I know that, you know, there's that clip where Obama's like, you know, if I had it my way, I would just be sitting in a room with and I'd be behind the scenes running everything. I mean, that's what he was doing.
And then he had to escort Joe off the stage at that one. Joe over here. Oh yeah. I mean, it's sad. It was sad. But you are right though, like, because you know it is true. Look at Trump's approval rating, 52%.
Yeah. Well, now, if you're going to report it right, you have to report it that he has a 48% disapproval rating.
Oh, my bad. Well,
AP style.
I mean,
always report that he has a 48% negative approval rating.
And the crazy thing is, that's a Harvard-Harris poll. That's not a conservative poll.
It's not.
That is not a conservative.
Probably at least 10 points higher.
I know. Oh, I was going to say 6, but yeah, I mean, like people are approving of the way he's running the country, his decision making. And you know what? All of us can say this one little thing I didn't like, or this one little thing, or I would have done that differently. Everybody does that. Spouses do that with their spouses.
Absolutely.
But we like the direction that it's moving. Here's another thing. You know, Apple, they have said, hey, We are now, over the next 4 years, they plan to spend $500 billion in investment inside the United States over the next 4 years. They're going to build these AI factories down in Texas for the AI servers. It's going to be 20,000 research jobs. And Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, said he's bullish about the future of America. The dude's doing stuff. Trump's doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, I mean, all the doom and gloom and all this is going to happen, all this is going to happen and blah, blah, blah. No, everything Trump says, first of all, he does. And then what he says is going to happen based on, I mean, his predictions come true as well. Put the tariffs in place. American jobs are going to return home. We're going to make stuff in America. We're going to make America great again. And boom. And even his haters are like, yeah, okay, we're going to do that. I mean, Tim Cook is no Donald Trump.
No Donald Trump supporter.
He's no Donald Trump fan. None of these people are, and yet they're all like, yes, sir, we're going to do what you say.
And that's the thing. The haters, but they find other stuff to hate on. Well, yeah, but, Elon's really in charge. It's like, I know you are, but what am I? That's what they're going to. Yeah. And it's absolutely.
I wore my tech support shirt today.
Yeah, that microphone's blocking. Show that. Oh, yeah, that's it right there. Tech support. That's what Elon wore when he went to, was that the White House shirt when he went to the White House?
He was, it was him and Trump together. I think
the Sean Hannity.
Interview. Yeah, they were there.
I remember when he went to the White House and people, the worst thing they could say is, the guy didn't wear a suit and a tie.
Yeah, well, I'm the lawyer without a suit, so I'm.
Okay, let me go on to another thing that people are talking about. The Eagles, over social media, it was blowing up over the weekend that some of the players, the front office, they said they will not go to visit the White House after their Super Bowl win. So according to Eagles Nation, this is trending on X, a well-placed insider, discussions between the Eagles players and their front office resulted in a massive no when asked if they would accept an invitation to the White House to honor their Super Bowl victory. So that's the little tweet there that went out. This is all the political side of stuff. The players, obviously, NFL players, 72% black, and if you're black, you're supposed to be Baptist and Democrat. You're supposed to not like Trump. That's just, you've seen how that's starting to change, but still the culture there is still, Trump's a racist, and we don't want to have to deal with, the pundits that are going to, talk trash about us if we go to the White House. So, yeah, we're just not going to do it. Well, that was trending on X, but then, obviously people started asking them. So now the Eagles, their official, they're starting to backtrack from that. Officially, the front office, they're saying they've not received an official invitation, but would be honored to attend if invited. Yeah, whatever. People are dogging them over Facebook. Like, I wish you would have lost now. And because people right now like Trump. If his official approval rating is 52%, according to Harvard Harris, according to the Will Worsham poll, it's actually 62%. So 6 out of 10 Americans approve.
Yeah. You didn't see a bunch of people refusing to go to the White House, when it was Biden or Obama. And I mean, I guess it's because their political leanings were that way. But I mean, how childish. I mean, it's just silly.
Or even under Bush. I mean, if they were, you didn't see it under Democrat, Republican, whatever. It's just that they want to now, they say it's not about the political party, but Trump is obviously a racist and we don't want to support that. That's a stupid thing. That's a narrative that they're still trying to pin on him.
Well, I mean, I'm so sick of my Democrat friends being trapped in their own echo chamber. I mean, they're like, we're terrified now that Trump is president. Well, you're only terrified because you've been telling yourself ghost stories for the past 4 years. If you didn't listen to yourself, I mean, nobody else believes this. The only people saying they're afraid of Trump are the people that are afraid of Trump.
So true.
It's ridiculous. They're scaring themselves.
No, you're right. The thing about me, and this is where people I always get hit up on Facebook, social media, public or whatever. People are always like, oh, you're just a Trump. You're all in with Trump. No, here's the deal. This is what made me give Trump even more attention when you guys, Democrats, media, politicians, tried to tell me he's a racist. I take that stuff very serious. I'm married to a white woman. My family is biracial family. I don't want there to be false claims of racism. I've experienced true racism. I know what it's really like. You talk about, if you want to argue about systemic racism or cultural, social racism, we can have these conversations, but don't try to tell me or don't try to convince me that someone's racist when there's really no proof of it, because then it diminishes it when there really truly is racism. I wrote a book about this stuff. Let's start again. A biracial couple's view on race, racial ignorance, and racial insensitivity. Not everything is racist. Trump is not racist. Now, in my opinion, has he been racially insensitive sometimes? Yeah. When he said stuff like those NFL thugs, I say that's racially insensitive. Because, you know why? Culturally, what color's a thug? I mean, stop and think about that. You're going right now, well, no, a thug is an Irish, white person. No, we know because Tupac back in the 90s came out with a thug life and hip hop culture. And now when you think of a thug, you think of a young black dude with his pants sagging. It is what it is. What color's trailer park trash? What color's a hillbilly?
Hey, we're proud to be hillbillies. That's not pejorative, man. We love being hillbilly.
Listen, I didn't say it, but I'm just
J.D. Vance.
But my point is, we can't pretend like there's not color to these things, but that doesn't make it racist. I think that it's racially insensitive for him because, Trump is not one to give in to political correctness. That's not racist for him to say that because technically a thug is not a black person. But I believe that word has been culturally appropriated to where we should say, okay, let's just say that. And so let's not be overtly offensive to people for the sake of let's get along. Let's just let that go. But if somebody wants to argue for the case of arguing against political correctness, it doesn't make him a racist. And I'm not going to call him that.
Hey, speaking of hillbillies, can I show you a picture?
Yeah.
All right, check this out. Oh, too big. There's some hillbillies for you right
Okay. Hey, listen, I have personally known Chappell to say that he is a hillbilly. I'm not calling anyone else hillbilly because I don't call white people hillbillies. If that's what you want to call yourself, that do it. You got Congressman Burleson, we got State Rep Darren Chappell, and then Will Worsham right there. You're running for office too, aren't you, my friend?
Yeah, that's right. I went ahead and declared for the 129th here in Webster County. So that election's not till the primary is in August of 26, so there's some time. But yeah, we're full bore. We're in it. We're going for it.
So there you go. So we got to keep that in conservative hands. Will Worsham is a true conservative man of faith, good guy all around, business leader, family man, husband. Man, he's doing a lot of good stuff, and he's what you need to be considering for out here. So let me see. Last story I want to go into is local story. Springfield police. They arrested 5 impaired drivers during a saturation patrol. That was this past Friday. So the officers used marked patrol vehicles to enforce hazardous moving violations commonly associated with intoxicated driving, according to the Springfield Police Department. And they stopped a total of 22 vehicles. So in addition to the 5 drivers arrested for driving while intoxicated, 20 others were given citations. So I like it. We need to get drunk drivers off the streets. I remember having these little safety patrols. I lived up in Kansas City for a while, and they did them a lot up there because they're young people that had them. We're talking almost every weekend. They had one somewhere, these little stops, and they're looking for you drunk drivers. I'm against drunk driving. I mean, there's nothing good that can come out of it. There's a story of a young lady. I remember following this. This is a couple years ago. She was 19. Her name was Zink. I think it's Ashley Zink. 19 years old. She's driving while drunk. She's got 4 of her friends in her car. Ends up wrecking. They all die. She lives. She was just sentenced to and reported for service her first day this past weekend to 7 years in jail. You hate it that a young person, 19 years old, has to pay such a high price, but there's consequences. 4 people are dead. And, man, we can't be having people on the roads driving while they're drunk. It's terrible. It's terrible. So officer said if you're going to drink, you should always have a plan for how to get home that doesn't involve driving. And I say hear to that. So, hey, that's all we got today on Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. Man, shout out to my man, Will Worsham. Thank you for filling in. My guy, you did a great job. Johnny on the spot. And, man, we hope my guy, Frizz, gets to feeling better. Thanks for checking us out. Planet 417. Hey, there's an app. If you want to listen to the show wherever you're at in your car, while you're driving out of this area, go to Planet 417. Or go to the App Store. You can download the app, Planet 417. You can check out Frontline Faith. You can check out Morning Waffle. That's Will's show. There's another Bible study. We got other plans for other shows. Planet 417. Get the app. Or you can always go to planet417.com. Check it out there. You can go to my YouTube, Alex Bryant Ministries, and of course our Facebook. So that's all we got. Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. We out.